Greetings and salutations. I recovered about 3 times more quickly than I should have from a recent surgery that I just had. And in my well-founded belief, I think it's my lifestyle choices and what I did before the surgery in specifics, and also what I did after the surgery for the recovery, that contributed to my healing just so incredibly fast. So here was the main marker that was used for the healing. The swelling was supposed to be peaking about 3 and 4 days out from the surgery. And the surgery, by the way, it was a minor surgery, oral surgery for a dental implant. So the initial work was done to pull the tooth back here, clean it out, and put in bone grafting. And then the implant is going to be like 3 or 4 months later after everything is completely healed. But anyway, this was the most brutal part of the whole thing. And so anytime you go through any kind of a surgical procedure, that is trauma to the body. That's what it is. And sometimes that trauma is worthwhile or it's necessary. And in this instance, we judged, myself and my doctor, that it was necessary to put my body through this particular trauma because this needed to be corrected back here. Otherwise, this problem in my jawbone area would have just expanded to further teeth. And if I waited a longer period of time, other teeth would have been affected and I'd have to have more pulled. So it was just the one, got some bone grafting in there. So everything is good and it's healing. So here is what I did to prepare for the trauma. And then I'll go into what I did after. And there's some very specific things specific to what was going on that I really believe made a big difference. But the main indicator, so back to that point, that the doctor gave me was the swelling. It was going to peak about 3 or 4 days out from the surgery. Well, day 1 after the surgery, the swelling was almost the size of like half of a golf ball over here. It was like, oh my God, and it's still going to be peaking like another couple of days from here. Wow. Well, day 2, the swelling was all but gone. I'm like, wow, you got to be kidding me. Is it one of these things where it starts, goes away, tricks you, and then comes back on the 3rd or 4th day? No, it never came back. So the swelling peaked on the 2nd day. I'm sorry, the 1st day, and by day 2, it was all but gone. By day 3 and 4, when it was supposed to be peaking, it just really wasn't there. So that was pretty incredible. And the pain was minimal. I never took any narcotics, though I was prescribed some just in case, and if I needed them, I would have taken them, but I didn't need them. The most I took was prescription strength ibuprofen, and that I stopped taking the night of the surgery because I just didn't feel the pain anymore. I didn't need it. So that was like another indicator, the swelling, the timing of the swelling, and also the pain alleviation. So all of that happened extraordinarily quick, especially the swelling part of it. So some things that I did beforehand going into it, and a lot of people don't really think about this when they're going into a trauma scenario like surgery. That is, beginning a couple weeks out, I would load up on plant-based proteins more than I normally would, and more trace minerals through raw nuts and seeds more than I normally would. Trace minerals because it goes to bone health and the skeletal system. Your teeth is part of your skeletal system. So specifically, I was concentrating on more nuts and seeds and other sources of trace minerals for that reason. The proteins, because the proteins are the building blocks of the body, muscle tissue and so forth, because we are going into some muscle tissue here as well. And then to deal with inflammation, because when you create trauma like that through surgery, during the healing process, there's going to be a lot of inflammation to deal with that. So ginger, lots of ginger, turmeric, raw ginger, raw turmeric, organic, black pepper, turmeric, specifically turmeric because it's the most powerful anti-inflammatory that grows from the earth. And when you couple it with black pepper, the black pepper increases the nutrient absorption of the turmeric, specifically the anti-inflammation properties. So I would just load my body up on that beginning about a couple weeks out before the surgery. Also fruits and, fiber, good fiber, all that stuff too, vitamins and so forth, so all of them. And hydration, you name it. Okay, so the day of the surgery, that happens, I go home, and I'm already on my prescription strength ibuprofen to deal with the pain, and it did the job. It did really well. One thing I did specifically to deal with what was going on in my mouth, topically at least, was as soon as I got home, actually before I got home, I had it was already waiting for me. I had brewed this particular kind of tea. I've got some raw cloves. Cloves if you can get clove essential oil and put it on a cotton ball, or just dab with your finger and put it on a toothache on contact, it is the most powerful thing in nature for a toothache. It's really incredible. And so I made this tea with cloves and garlic, ginger, and turmeric. So there's all kinds of antibacterials, there's antibiotics, there's antifungal, there's, gosh, what else? Topically, it's a pain reliever from the clove, anti-inflammation from the garlic and the ginger and the turmeric, especially the turmeric, as well as the garlic too. All those things happening. For the antibiotics specifically, not so much the tea, but I would take oil of oregano for an antibiotic, as well as what the doctor prescribed. And oil of oregano is nature's most powerful antibiotic, so that was just a contributing factor to help with that initial healing process by getting that in me. But the tea, going back to that, basically those 4 ingredients. The first one being clove, because topically what it does here, and then garlic, ginger, and turmeric. And so I would brew that up, put it through a fine mesh strainer to get all the particulates out of it. Especially with an incision in my mouth, I was not to eat any food for the next week and a half without any particulate matter in there. So then I just have this really runny, awesome tea, as tea should be, right, without particles in it. And I would sip that tea, and I would just let it, no swishing, no spitting, no sucking. There's some jokes in there somewhere, I'm sure. Feel free to comment with them. But for the first week, strict orders from the doctor: no spitting, no sucking, no swishing things around. So this tea, I would just sort of tilt my head, go back like this, so that it would run over. Same thing with this prescription mouthwash that I was given to keep the area clean. I wasn't to swish it around, just sort of tilt my head, and then just let it fall out of my mouth and not spit it out. So I did all of those things, but this tea was sort of an extra thing that I just came up with on my own, based on just knowledge I've accumulated over the years and my own research and my own learnings. And that made a significant difference as well. So when I went to my first follow-up appointment with my doctor, the one that did the surgery, I was asking him about how did I recover 3 times as fast and all these things. He's like, well, it's really rare, but once in a while somebody just recovers more quickly. And he didn't really act too curious why, which is one thing I never understood about medical doctors. If it happens outside of their wheelhouse, they typically aren't very curious and want to know why. So I'm like, I made this tea with these 4 ingredients, the clove, the first one, and then garlic, ginger, and turmeric. And he's like, no, that's cool. Turmeric has been shown to show some anti-inflammation stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. But he totally missed everything that was in the tea and the purpose, like behind the clove and so on. So I don't know if he knows about that sort of, who knows. But for what he does, he was very good. So I have no complaints about the doctor. I just wish they knew more about natural nutrition and natural therapies and homeopathy and things like that, because it is very relevant to the industry of wellness and making people better and recovering from a traumatic event like a surgery. It would have been relevant for him to know that stuff, but still, I'm very grateful for his expertise and what he does know, because he did a really great job in there. I just happened to combine that with what I know and made it a lot better, so that's pretty cool. But so that was a huge thing, that particular tea that I brewed. It was a big help, in addition to the stuff that he prescribed and stuff that he had me go through. So I was completely compliant with the doctor's orders. Just also added my own stuff in a way that didn't interfere with what he was doing for me. So that's the key ingredient too. Sometimes, as wonderful as naturopathics are, if it's going to interfere with what your doctor is doing, it might be wise to put that off so it doesn't defeat the purpose. You know what I'm saying? But in this case, that wasn't the case, so I did it with that particular tea. God, what a difference that made. And it's even a really great tea to just sip, even if you're not recovering from something. I mean, those ingredients are wonderful, incredibly beneficial for you, whether you're sick or not sick. So give it a shot, those 4 ingredients: clove, garlic, ginger, and turmeric. So another thing that I did post-recovery, juicing. I've got a juicer at home, a couple juicers. And I would focus on not sugary things. I don't juice sugary things anyway, but I would focus on juicing lots of ginger roots, Granny Smith apples, celery, cucumber, dark leafy greens. All of those things in juice form are very concentrated in all of their nutrients, their phytochemicals, their trace minerals, their proteins, everything that's involved in it. But it removes the fiber because it's juiced. And so because it's so concentrated and because it's in juice form, it doesn't have anything to break down once, you know, you ingest it. It just goes right into the bloodstream, similar to the way that alcohol just goes right into the bloodstream. There's no thermic effect of feeding, and the thermic effect of feeding is basically the calories that your body will burn through to digest food. And so your body is one energy source. If you can concentrate that energy source on healing yourself, especially from a traumatic event like a surgery, the better off you're going to be. So that's just all timing in place right there. Because normally I do eat foods with fiber in it, and normally it's a mixture. Solid foods with fiber, and then I'll still juice anyway just because it's so good for you and there's so many concentrated nutrients in that juice. But post-surgery, especially immediately after, I would concentrate more on that concentrated juicing than I normally would to keep my thermic effect of feeding down, so my body's one energy source and energy supply can be directed and focused and honed in on healing rather than breaking down and digesting foods. So that concentration of juice just absorbs straight into my bloodstream and be put to work toward a faster recovery, in addition to that wonderful tea that I made as well. So the tea was great topically, obviously, and also when you ingest it, the tea is also very good for you as well. So those are the main things that I did. In particular with this operation, I was told not to make contact with the incision, like not with my tongue, don't toy with it, just keep everything away, don't let any food get over there, chew on the side of your mouth. Again, no spitting, no sucking, no swishing around and all that stuff, and completely compliant. And so now things are good. I'm even brushing over there now lightly with a soft bristle brush, and there's no pain, there's no discomforture. So the healing is continuing to go swimmingly well, but that initial healing was so quick and so good. And intentionally, and I don't think it happened in a vacuum. I think it happened because of what I did prior, what I did after, and being compliant to the doctor as well. And also just my lifestyle and the fitness, the exercise too. So I'll end on this point. My metabolic processes are so efficient, not just my metabolism and my ability to digest food and so on, but just my body's overall metabolic adaptation and metabolic processes that also goes towards healing really fast. And the reason that is so well in my anaerobic threshold, my lactic acid threshold, which all goes towards your metabolic processes, that's from the workouts. That's from the stuff I do in the gym. So in addition to the stuff you do in the kitchen, the workouts, I work out hard. I work out vigorously. And if you have any risk factors for a heart attack or a stroke, or you're just overall out of shape, start aerobically, build up to being able to do something more anaerobic and more vigorous, and maybe HIIT training, high intensity interval training. But start where you're at and build up your immune system, not just what you do in the kitchen, but also the physical activity that you do as well, because that goes a long way. That also is a huge help to your blood sugar and your pancreas, your pancreatic health, as well as just overall health in general. If you're also building up to being able to work out hard on a regular basis in the gym and just really push yourself in a good, challenging way, the overload principle, but safely, so you don't get injured either, and you're not doing too much too soon, but you're building up safely. It goes a long way towards recovering or equipping your body to being able to recover very efficiently from injuries, traumatic events, trauma, whatever the case may be. It's also very good for brain health too, staving off Alzheimer's and dementia, you name it. And there's going to be another video coming soon specifically about the specific benefits that vigorous anaerobic exercise has for overall brain health, and actually going a long way towards preventing things like Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. So look forward to that video coming at some future point, probably pretty soon. Well, if you made it to the end of this video, 14 minutes in, let me know. As always, I'll be tickled. Any video that's over a minute long, it's like, yeah, let me know. It's pretty cool. And I hope I gave you some things that could help you out, even if you just want to make some lifestyle changes, if for no other reason, just because you want to feel better. And as you get older, you want to function better, feel better, and even look better too if you want to. It's all good. And feel free to share this. And my website is orgasmicpathways.com. That's orgasmicpathways.com. When you get there, choose your pathways. It's health, fitness, nutrition, recipes that are very healthy and so tasty, workouts, tons of fitness stuff, and also music, because I'm a guitar player, and dancing, because I'm a dancer. And dancing is some pretty good aerobic exercise. Not vigorous, but it's aerobic and it's good stuff. That's all I got for you. Bye for now.